This is my 71st YouTube video, and I'd like to thank all those woodworkers, musicians and others who've subscribed to my rather quirky channel. I've endeavoured to use this fantastic medium positively and to share some of my passions. Fortunately, there have only been a couple of knee-jerk comments posted, and they were to do with my joke video about drilling square holes. I guess one must never take for granted that everyone shares one's sense of humour. One of the reasons I value being able to so easily broadcast these YouTube videos, apart from the fact that the only cost is my time, is the freedom to express myself, which many young people today in Britain take for granted. Much of my creative energy results from having been negated as a child and made to feel a fool every time I open my mouth. My home circumstances were pretty brutal. My mother died in childbirth, and so I never knew her, and my father was an ill man and wouldn't let me use his home workshop for fear of messing up his tools. He certainly didn't want a son landing up using his hands for a living, and had high academic hopes for me, but I was not academically inclined. Now, I was first inspired to make things by a very kind Polish wartime refugee called Ken, who stoked the boiler for a local laundry behind our house, as he was the handyman there. He showed me how to use the tools in his metalworking workshop when I was about 11, filing and drilling scrap bits of metal. Having literally scraped into grammar school after running out of the 11+ exam in tears, I was rescued by a wealthy Scottish uncle who offered 3 years of secondary education at a private progressive school. By chance, I was inspired at this school by a brilliant woodwork teacher called Howard Orme. At 17, Howard loaned me the keys to the school workshop, and I made my first acoustic guitar, working through a Friday and Saturday night to complete it by the Sunday afternoon. My lifelong passion was fired, and I followed in Howard's footsteps and trained as a handicraft teacher at Shoreditch College after gaining A grade at A-level woodwork in just 2 terms. I was blessed with a talent that would see me through thick and thin, even to this day. I landed up teaching carpentry at one of the top schools in Britain, but it was regarded as a Cinderella subject, so I left at the age of 23 and became a self-employed designer maker, throwing my cards to the winds. Incredible opportunities unfolded despite the financial insecurity, and fairly recently to be invited to teach in Finland, a country which knows more than any other how to use wood beautifully, has been an amazing compliment. I've been privileged also to teach the most talented furniture students in Ireland. Curiously, when I was in school, I wanted to become an architect but was told I wasn't bright enough, yet I have subsequently taught many ex-architects wanting to become furniture makers. I guess although I had a passion for pretty girls who I dated in my youthful years, I never followed a conventional path and got married and had children. I felt I would have to give up my passion for wood and get a conventional job to be the breadwinner. As with many artists, high creative energy often has its downside, and one occasionally falls down the vortex of very dark and deep holes, but paradoxically the challenge of innovating and using one's hands is the best therapy of all and pulls you out of these holes. I think it's scandalous that woodwork and the practical arts have been largely chased out of the school curriculum in Britain. It's missing the point to say the country doesn't need carpenters or that robot manufacture will ultimately take over. The practical arts serve as a vehicle for self-development for a young person, not just learning how to design something that you're going to make, but equally in learning the key skills of how to make things. This way of life is a far cry from celebrity culture where teenagers dream of instant fame and riches. To use your hands and mind creatively, especially with an amazing material like wood, is a wonder. And I actually believe that if you have a talent, you almost have an obligation to use it.